Hey guys, it's Rachel from the Little Reading Land. Today I have a book review on Dragonfly and Amber by Gabaldon. This is a sequel to Outlander. This goes without saying there will be spoilers from the first book, Outlander, but this will be a spoiler for your review on Dragonfly and Amber, so you shouldn't worry if you haven't read it. The only spoilers I'll be having are coming from the back cover. And yes, if you haven't seen my book reviews before or just need a refresher, I rate my books in 5 different categories: plot, characters, cover, suspense, and overall in terms of reading. Again, very soon, 5 out of 5, not so soon, 1 out of 5. As well, if I look down, I'm looking at my notebook where I kept score of those categories. So basically, Dragonfly and Amber, when I was reading Outlander, I accidentally saw the back cover and I saw this one line and I was like, oh my gosh, like, it didn't spoil Outlander for me because I kind of predicted this, but at the same time, it says, now Legacy of Blood and Desire will test her beautiful copper-haired daughter Brianna as Claire's spellbinding journey of self-discovery continues in the intrigue-ridden Paris court of Charles Stuart. Now, I basically just saw the name Brianna and the daughter part, and I was like, what? So I was really scrambling to finish Outlander, especially to see this. This book did take me a little bit longer, and I didn't love it as much as Outlander, but I still think it's a really good addition to the series, and I heard that the third book's better from people that have finished this and started the third book. So basically, this book takes place right after, well, it's kind of like right after Outlander, the events that happened, but at the same time, at the beginning, we see Claire 20 years later, and she's returning to Scotland. I'm just trying to read this off the back so I do not spoil anything because they're big books and I don't want to let something slip. And basically, she is about time to tell her daughter the truth about the events that happened to her mother. And basically, we see them in Paris and going for the Highlands Uprising. So we heard about the Highlands Uprising, I believe, at the end of Outlander, and this kind of continues that story. But at the beginning, we have another beginning where Claire's back in present time, which is kind of confusing at first, but you're going to see everything kind of work itself out throughout the end of the book. So plot, I give a 4 out of 5. Now, this plot wasn't as good as Outlander, I wouldn't say. There was a few parts where I was a little bit bored, namely the first chapter in part 6. I was around 600, I think it's 600 to 672 or something like that. I was a little bored during that part. There was a few parts that kind of lost my attention, but for the main part, it really intrigued me. I really liked their time in Paris. I really liked their time in the Highlands. All that, and I found it was just a really good plot. It wasn't as good as Outlander, I'd say, but it still had the intrigue, and I was still very much enraptured. Characters, I give a 5 out of 5. Now, all the characters I find in this series so far are really good. Either you're really happy with them or really mad at them. They can make you feel such strong emotions. This was especially interesting because some characters, you got to see different sides of them, I guess, and you got introduced to quite a few new characters because of them being in a new place. And I really like the addition of these new characters. Of course, I really like Claire and Jamie's character, but I really like seeing Brianna and Roger and seeing... I don't really want to name the rest of the characters because I don't want to spoil anything that comes on later in the book. But let's just say that a lot of the characters that show up in Paris I really like. I didn't really have a problem with anybody in this book besides the people I mentioned in the last book. I give it 3.5 out of 5. Now, I really like I like how it matches Outlander, but I don't really like how the cup, I forget what they're called. There's a fancy name for them. I forget. I was going to say, no, that's not the right word. I forget what the cups are called, but anyway, we're just going to call it a cup for this sake. I don't really like how this cover kind of blends into itself. Like, I liked the dark blue of Outlander, but it's just not my favorite. But I'm actually happy it matches. It just doesn't stand out to me. It's just like, it's there, it's average. It's not hideous, it's not overly beautiful. It's just, you know, average. Suspense, I give it a 4 out of 5. The suspense is really high for this book. I really wanted to read it a lot. I had to take quite a few breaks because I was reading it during exam time, but it kept me really intrigued. It left off on kind of a cliffhanger ending, so I was very excited to pick up the third book. I haven't done so yet because it is a bigger read. I'm just reading a few smaller things, but I'm very excited to get to that. And overall, I give it a 4 out of 5. I'd definitely read it again when I read the rest of the series. It wouldn't be something that I was like, oh, I don't want to read that with the rest of the series. But yeah, it was quite enjoyable. Not as good as Outlander, but still a good addition to the series, I would say. That's my final verdict on that. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.